So the year is 2023, we're right towards the tail end. We have a brand new fragrance from the brand Labo. This one is called Myrrhe 55. I've never been the biggest fan of myrrhe, although I do enjoy a Papanax, which is sweet myrrhe, and I like the resins that are more on the sweet ambery side of things. So this is a sample that was sent to me by my friend Chris from the channel Casual Fragrances. Chris, thank you so much for that. I'm going to be giving my first impression on this channel of this brand new fragrance, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin today's episode and I give you my thoughts on the brand new Myrrhe 55 by Labo, this is not a full review. I don't have a bottle on hand, but I will be doing this pseudo first impression for you guys and girls. Before I begin the video, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, please do consider supporting the channel by subscribing to it, hit the bell icon, and also give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would really mean a lot to me. So, this is a city exclusive to Shanghai. I've never been to Shanghai, of course, but this fragrance is probably double the price of their standard collection, or at least that's how it's always been. I remember 10 years ago, a 50 ml was like 145 bucks. If you wanted to buy a 50 ml of a city exclusive, it was twice the price. So it was closer to 300 bucks, but I know the price has gone up in the past decade. And I haven't actually shopped at a Labo store in a number of years now. So I'm not sure what the price is currently, but given the fact that this is a city exclusive, I surmise that it's going to be quite pricey. So I looked up the note breakdown and it has myrrhe, the namesake of the perfume. It actually has 55 ingredients in it, right? It also has jasmine, there's agarwood, there's patchouli. So I'm getting the impression that it could be a little fresh at times, but it has a darker personality to it. I've actually tried this 2 or 3 days ago when the package first came in. And right now that I'm smelling it, it actually has this floral patchouli vibe. And it actually reminds me of Bottega Veneta or Veneta Bottega, the women's version Eau Légère or something like that. My mother actually wears it quite a bit. It also reminds me of a little bit of Gris Dior. Okay, so let me do a full spray just so I have a better idea. Okay, so in the opening, it's nice and warm. So the myrrhe comes in, it has that warm, ambery personality, and there's a variety of myrrhe known as bitter myrrhe. It actually smells quite rubbery. I don't get that. Thank goodness. I really can't stand that. But it is a warm, resinous type of a fragrance. The patchouli is there. It's earthy. It has that clean floral tendency. And it's interesting, like as I'm smelling it, I thought I was smelling rose, but apparently I don't think there's rose in this fragrance. It's mostly just jasmine, but the way that it's coming across with the patchouli, it's nice, it's earthy, it's sophisticated. So I do give it that. I can see why somebody smelling this might think it's floral leaning, and it is, right, because of the jasmine, and they might find this to be a little bit on the feminine side of things. For me personally, I really do enjoy this one. I don't think it's one that I would wear personally. I think I'm inclined towards some of the darker offerings from the brand, Vetiver 46, Patchouli 24, Queer 28, Poivre 23, so on and so forth. And I have so many Labo fragrances in my collection. And I do like the freshies too, Bergamot 22, so on and so forth. But this one, I think is a little bit too floral for my taste. And the patchouli combined with the jasmine and some of the other, because look, there's 55 ingredients. If you're looking at 5 notes in the note breakdown, you know there's 50 more that are not counted for, right? So this fragrance is quite floral, at least when I've tried it through my personal sampling experience. It's not one of my favorites. I know there's a new lavender-based fragrance as well, and Chris sent me a sample of that too, so I'm going to be covering that in a future video. But this one, it's nice. I think it does come across smelling quite organic, very natural, and I think if you're a fan of that combination of ingredients, that sort of patchouli, I'm inclined to say rose because I'm smelling it, but it's not in the note breakdown. If you're a fan of that jasmine, floral, patchouli, earthy type of a vibe, and like I said, it does remind me of Bottega Veneta. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I haven't said that name in a while, but my mother wears the women's version, and there's one that I think is discontinued, and it's called Eau Légère. It kind of reminds me of that right now, but it's really nice, and I think this one will cater to that type of clientele. If you're a fan of like the earthy floral fragrances, that initial ambery vibe actually goes away, which is quite shocking to me because that warmth I would expect to subside, especially considering the fact that myrrhe is a base note, but perhaps that initial warmth is coming from something else. But the opening of this is really, really nice. The dry down is really classy. I prefer the opening over the dry down, but all things considered, it is a long-lasting fragrance. On the test strip, I mean, I smelled it days later, but on skin, you're gonna get about 8 hours or something like that, I would say. So the performance is really good. Projection is actually really good as well. I wanna say it projected really well for the first hour of application. It became an elbows length scent right around hour 5.5. Skin scent right around hour 8. Versatility on this one I think is pretty good too. I think this one can be worn by anybody of any age, although I can see somebody a little bit older really appreciating the artistry that went into this one. Perfectly unisex, but I can see this being like maybe 65% feminine and the rest masculine. I think this is great for formal scenarios, and I think this would be great for any time of the year, if I'm being honest with you. Although I can see somebody not wishing to wear this one in the summertime because maybe with the patchouli and, you know, the oud and some of the other ingredients in here, it might be a little too heavy-handed. But I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not very woodsy. It's more earthy than anything else, and of course the namesake of the perfume is in there, but that warmth kind of dies out, right? Initially you're like, oh, there's something really nice happening in here, something warm, something possibly balsamic, and you're not getting much of an amber, to be honest. I was expecting maybe some vanilla, maybe some labdanum, maybe some benzoin, maybe some tolu balsam, and you're not really getting much of that. Myrrhe, I am, right? And I'm sure those other ingredients are in here, but they're in here in a very tiny quantity that you don't really smell them, or they're not the predominating notes here. But in any case, Myrrhe 55, it's a cool fragrance. Not one of my favorites. I personally wouldn't pay the city exclusive price for it. I'm not even sure what it is, but I know it's well above 300. For all I know, it could be above 400. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. And it also depends on what size you're going to get, 50 or 100 ml. But myself personally, it's not my favorite. I'm more inclined to wear the lavender base offering, which I'm going to do a quick video on right now because I do have a sample on hand and I've been sampling that over the past 2 to 3 days as well. So once again, Chris, thank you so much for sending these to me. Myrrhe 55, if you're looking for a floral patchouli with a touch of resinous richness, but not something that goes too sweet, check this one out. I think it might be to your liking. Like I said, for me personally, I like something with a little bit more oomph to it, but this one does smell natural. It does smell high quality. It does smell original for the most part. I know I made a couple of references to other fragrances, but all things considered, I think it's a good fragrance, just doesn't align with my personal taste. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video or if you took something of value from today's episode, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. It would mean so much to me. Thanks again for watching. Love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow with a new episode. Bye.